Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am your wonderful host, Fontaman, and welcome back to Grindfest. Now, once again, I'm starting recording after the move, so let's just get back into what we were doing, shall we? We are 46,000 RP away from the privateer, which honestly isn't that bad. This isn't really that long of a grind. Once you start getting up to rank 5, then the grinds get a little bit insane. But for a rank 3 plane, nah. This is not a strenuous grind. It's just a little bit slightly longer than you'd want it to be. But let's see here. What should we do here? We've been playing the shit out of all these other planes, for the comedy parade here, but I think let's get around in the B-17. Because why not? Actually, that's not the one with the... There it is. Okay. Very oddly, one of my little screw-ups here with crews here is that this crew, the fourth crew, is the bomber crew, or like the crew with all the gun skills, as you can see here. Though I need to spend more points, but I'm saving up to get all of the gunners, if I remember correctly. That's one of the harder things to do because they cost so much. Basically, if you don't have skilled gunners, they operate at reduced efficiency and drag everybody else's skills down. So you have to, as you can see here, 690 points for the last gunner. Though I don't think we need 10 gunners. Well, we have 7 gunners, so we have enough for the B-17. But remember, I use this crew for basically every bomber, so I actually need to have them fully spec'd out, just in case they do throw me a plane with 10 gunners on it. Though I think the privateer also has 7 guns, right? 6 guns. Alright. So, in addition to that, as I was saying, it's a bit of a screw-up, because this is the 4th crew, and then on every other crew, like, you see, on the German one, this is the bomber crew. It's all the way at the back, and also, quite obviously, over here in the Russians, hello, T-35. We won't be going Berlin Express today, right? Crew, right. And this is the TU-2 crew, who is, well, they're not maxed out for tanks. But as you can see here, these guys are fully maxed out. That's what the power of autism can do. One day, hopefully, I'll have something to grind in the Russian tree. Though, all things considered, I don't have the TU-4, so I may go for that next, or rather, down the line. I think what I'm probably going to do here is get the privateer, and then consider making my way down here to the starship. Remember, I'm still going to do that. That's going to be a long grind, because, as you can see here, I don't have rank 3 unlocked. How the ranking, how the unlocking system works is that you have to have a minimum number of vehicles in a rank or an era in order to actually unlock the next era and then be able to research anything in that. And then also, in addition, you have bonuses considering which lines these vehicles are on, though you're not actually rooted to them like you would in World of Tanks. You can research anything from anything. However, if you're going from, like, say, the M10 Wolverine to the Jackson, rather, that's not the Jackson, that's the Hellcat. That's the Jackson. But like I was saying, if you go from the M10 to the M18, you get a bonus. Basically, when you're playing the M10, you get a bonus towards researching the M18. So that's kind of the way to smartly, move your grinds. And we're probably going to be playing a lot of tank destroyers because, well, we get the most efficient, grind out of it. Ending all the way in the T-95, which is really kind of silly to have that right next to the starship, but I get what they're saying. It's a tank destroyer, really. And for what I hear, the Shillelagh missiles are probably the best anti-tank missile in the game, mainly because they're barrel-launched, and so you don't have to compensate at all. You just look at the target and shoot, and then all of a sudden they have a heat warhead just racing towards them. But we're going to have to do a lot of unlocking, and you can see this in tanks, because I haven't really played tanks all that much, or rather, grinded terribly high in tanks. The highest I've gotten is Russia, mainly because I was sitting there playing the SMK and T-35 all this damn time. And so I'm at rank 3 up here. And also, one vehicle away from unlocking rank 4. But nothing terribly interesting, aside from the Shelka. One day, Shelka. One day. But I just wanted to get this out of the way so you could see how this is going to work here. And unfortunately, you can't actually see it on anything else because I already have so many fucking planes. But also, you need to... But also, one of the things that does actually, whatchamacallit, does actually influence where you grind is you do need to actually unlock the previous vehicle in order to unlock one of the vehicles in the chain. So, we have to unlock all of the tank destroyers. But we can research them from anything once we unlock them. So, yeah, War Thunder's grind system is a little bit, you know, is a little bit strange. Honestly, it's probably one of the most comfortable grind systems I've played. You know, grind income is a little bit shit, but, honestly, I could sit here and play anything and research everything in a tree, which is why I have most of these fucking fighters. I don't play air-to-air aircraft all that much. I mean, I do, but not as much as I'd play bombers. But, well... With that yakking out of the way, let's get around in the B-17, and this will give us some bonuses towards researching the privateer. Not an insane amount of bonuses, but bonuses. Now let's see here. Oh, this has 7.62 turrets. Isn't that adorable? Armored targets and default armored targets, universal. You see, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here with these with the belts right now. I'm gonna assume that armor-piercing incendiary is still the meta round, at least for planes, for the 50 cals. But I also noticed that in the A20, for example, they completely removed the armor-piercing incendiary rounds from the belts. Rather, in the offensive belts. As you can see, we don't get any of them, which is kind of odd, but okay. But we're not going to be shooting anything on the ground. We're going to be bombing it from several thousand feet up in the air, from which we have, well, either 6,000-pound bombs or 2,000-pound bombs. That's enough to take out a base. So we'll actually get some money out of the deal, but let's go! Okay. Kreminsk. Well, we're not going to the happy fields over there. We're probably just gonna go over here and then, well, see what we can manage. I'm gonna make this simple and just carry 2,000-pound bombs. Because fuck it. Our objective is the why did I spawn on the ground? Wait a minute. Really? Huh. That's a new one. Right. I need to extend flaps. Cannon Corsair. Alright. This is... Why did I start down here? I must have not... well, I was assuming it was going to spawn me in the air, because why would I want to spawn on the airfield? Why would I want to do that, video game? But oh well. It just means, unfortunately, we're going to have to actually take off, and then climb a little bit. Okay. We're in the air. Gear up. Very, very slowly. Flaps up. And then we're just gonna bank here to our right, get over this mountain, and then head on to our target. Of which, unfortunately, we're gonna be at... Well, we're gonna be at diving altitude because I made a whoopsie. But oh well. We'll see what happens. Oh, look, a privateer. And a Werben. It also, the fun thing with the privateer is you probably actually want to stay low in that thing because you don't have a ball turret. B-17, you've got a ball turret, but the thing with the privateer is it removes the ball turret and puts a second dorsal turret on top of the plane. Which, well, it'll help when things are coming out from above you, but you are pretty much defenseless underneath the plane, which is sensible because it's a patrol bomber. It was supposed to be low-level attack. Or, well, as much as you can guess, I suppose. It doesn't have torpedoes, which is rather strange. I would guess the idea behind that is that since it was going to be low-level, it could launch torpedoes at things, but it doesn't have torpedoes. Then again, it could probably carry, like, I don't know, 6 of them in the bomb bay, if it could manage. But, oh well. But, as I was rambling on, the idea for the privateer is to, well, just remain low and just cover your weak point with the ground. So in that plane, it's actually fairly accommodating to stay low, which is probably, honestly, one of the more attractive things about the plane. But the B-17, well, it's the B-17. There's not much to say about it other than you just fly through everything the enemy team can throw at you, and, well, if you make it through, you drop a shit ton of bombs on the target, and then you fly home laughing. If you don't, well, tough shit, it happens to everybody. But there's something innately patriotic about the B-17. America's greatest contribution to the war effort. The Russians have their Kursk, and they have their massive tank battles. They can have tanks. America's got these things. And what did we do with these things? We flew over Germany nearly every single day, and dropped shit tons of bombs on them. Oh, hello. IL-10! What are you doing? I was sitting here romanticizing about my patriotism. Uh-oh, that's my flaps. I'd like to roll the plane over, Jack. Also, this convergence, what's going on here? Oh! Fucking... I couldn't get him. Shit. Well, you see, god damn it. I'm sitting here, you know, just fucking romanticizing about B-17s, and I get taken down by an IL-10 that I couldn't fucking hit. Gunner convergence is just a massive annoyance. You have to get it right, or you're gonna fucking die horribly. Alright, moving on. But as I was saying, flew over Germany, through hell and back, every morning, and then came back and tagged the British in to bomb them every single night. Taking horrendous losses nearly every step of the way. But not a single raid turned back! We lost a shit ton of plane and many, many good men. And that's our contribution to the war effort. Unfortunately, it's kind of a flying coffin in this game, which is, well, unfortunately, what happens to heavy bombers in most cases. But let's try that again. That was a little bit too cheap. Yeah. Like I was saying, though, what happens to heavy bombers in most cases is because, well, honestly, the game hates them. The game wants to make them useless. Or rather, Gajin wants to make them useless and incredibly frustrating to fly. Because, well, if the guns work onto the plane and it shoots down the fighters, then the fighters get pissed off. And the fighters are the lowest common denominator players, and so they get, well, basically everything. And it's Norway. Great. So, us in the ground attack divisions, well, we have to deal with basically the shit parts of the game every single step of the way. At least I can't accidentally spawn on the runway now. Alright. Unfortunately, we're going to be fighting the Germans, which means Mineschuss. What's Mineschuss? It's explosive rounds. They're made of explosions. They basically ruin your day if they hit you at all. So, hopefully, we get our shit together here and actually manage to not die horribly. Hopefully, that me and this other B-17 can have a bit of a bro-up here.
Attention to the map.
But, you see, this is one of the weird inconsistencies with War Thunder. Yes, cannon fire in a lot of cases was this lethal. However, the problem is that the accuracy in the game, thanks to mouse aim, is so hilariously high for even the most inexperienced player. It means that we have hit rates that are hilarious in terms of... they're just completely unrealistic in terms of historical hit rates. It's actually kind of hard to hit things in a plane. But with mouse aim, we don't really have that kind of issue. At least in the fighters. But with bombers, honestly, in gunner view, we have a lot of shit to deal with. Screen shake is incredibly high, and the actual sort of depth perception is incredibly hard to actually catch. You need to practice a lot in order to actually really get a handle on it, and even then, it's really inconsistent. And also, hey, look, a cockpit. It's an incredibly low-resolution cockpit that was basically put in here because people complained a lot, but hey, we have a B-17 cockpit. It's quite comfy in here. Not as comfy as the BV. There's like a dance floor inside the flight deck. But this is actually pretty nice, and also our oil and engine are overheating already. I have no WEP, by the way. Yay, historical accuracy! Yay, secret documents. Gimping historical planes so that they are at the mercy of planes that are, well, paper napkin planes, and planes that have yet to actually have historical documentation found for them. And so what do we get? We get overheating engines at 100 throttle because the book said so. Meanwhile, there are hundreds of planes in this fucking game that do not play by these rules. But okay, TA-150, that's not what I wanted to see. TA-152 is bad enough, but the Dorners are actually kind of terrifying too. But at least the Dorners are a big target. Oh, great. My B-17 buddy descended. Well, time to cut throttle and get the fuck down there. We're not going to do anything up here. I mean, we'll have relative safety up here, but we're also probably going to run into the Germans up here. So we want to avoid that. See, you got a Werven down there and a Tempest. It's probably a Cannon Tempest. But, oh. Well, hey, look at that. The Germans descended. Alright, fine. We'll stay up here. We're on our own, but, well... Those guys have no idea. Well, the Tempest knows now, but the Werven is still kind of like, yeah, what's going on there, Werven? Werven, he's dead. Well, we got anybody on my level? No? Okay, then. Huh. The Tempest got him. Good. Uh-oh. TA-152. He's diving, though, so we should be all right. But this is what you sign up for when you play heavy bombers. You fly towards a target, and you just deal with the shit that comes by. Like that. The B-17 got completely insta-gimped, and now he's gonna bail. Oh, boy! Alright, fine. I'd like to roll the plane over, please. He's gonna come at me from my blinds, well, from a less pleasing angle. Alright, and Joker, let's go. Alright. Come on. I'm gonna overshoot the target trying to kill this guy, but we need to kill the guy or we're not gonna get any targets. Okay then. Full broadside. Yeah. Okay, he's kind of waving around like an idiot. There are the hits. Well, a hit. And he's about to shoot at me. Oh, yeah. Oh boy. Stealth rounds, too. Ha-ha! Ha! Eat shit, Jerry. Anybody else up here I have to worry about? No? Okay, good. Now, as you can see, he fired at me for like 15 seconds. Probably less. And as you can see, my entire plane is already black. It's like, let's see here. 2 engines are hit, one of the fuselage, well, actually, that's just in the cell. And then the cell is black, which means it's not providing lift. The majority of the control surfaces are damaged, and my co-pilot took a bullet in the chest. But he's fine now. We'll just patch him up. And also, I've got to turn around now and attempt to drop my bombs. And as you can see, all of the Germans are coming back this direction. But hopefully that Spitfire and that Mustang can keep everybody busy while I drop my payload. Okay, so now we're gonna roll the plane over very gently because everything is broken. It's kind of funny. You bank the plane over and then you step on the ailerons. To just, you know, just passive-aggressively limit your own that's a little too far. Yeah, I know. We're gonna knock out this base. If I can actually get a target on it. Level out, level out, level out, level out, bomb bay open. Okay, let's get this U-boat pen. Okay. Steady. Steady, Bombardier. Steady. Steady. Bomb's gone. Alright. We made it to the target, and then the bombs are away. My engine's sputtering, but, well, that's why we have 4 of them. Well, let's watch. Those are falling a little fast. Nope. There we go. Look at the amazing gripping action! Ah! Okay, good. Base destroyed. Raid successful. Well, here's a flak. But now what are we going to do? You see, this is kind of the issue here with this game. After a bomber has, well, dumped its payload, especially on this map, you're kinda just sitting there wondering, okay, so what the fuck do I do now? This map doesn't have an airfield innately, and you only have 1 set of bombs. So this is kind of where the design, or the gameplay design for this game stops. And it's really obvious that Gajin's gameplay department doesn't really have any fucking idea what the hell they're doing, and they're not really expanding on the core elements of the game, at least in air realistic battles. But this has always been like this. So now I have effectively done my job, however, there's no way for me to get additional points aside from putting myself at tremendous risk to gunboat things. So, quite honestly, this is where it's kind of like playing a video game that has scripted events, but it's incomplete. It's a beta project. Or a demo. But once you get through the scripted event, the game then stops. You can't go any further, so you're just kind of walking around in circles in a blank, empty expanse. Or rather, a static expanse. You can't progress because there's nowhere to progress to, yet. That's the kind of feeling that I get with this. It's really kind of... It's actually really disappointing, and honestly just kind of depressing. Let's see. All of our engines are overheating. I suppose we can attempt to throttle down here. Maybe keep the engines cool, but all of them are damaged. But that's it, really. That's all we can do. We took out 1 base, and then that's it. We don't get paid very well for this, to be honest. Alright, reducing the throttle did, in fact, solve some of our overheating issues. Or at least stall them for now. But yeah, I think this is one of the bigger issues with this game, is the fact that the gameplay design is really immature. For a game that's been out for so long, it's kind of unacceptable at this point, really. There's really no reason not to complain about this, because there's really no good excuse. Bombers are not useful all the way through the game, on their own. They need to rely on other bombers, and bombers, they die so easily. So that their gameplay actual win condition for destroying the bases and then knocking out the airfield is actually hilariously, it's almost impossible. It actually, in order to achieve, unless you actually just sort of, unless you have TU4s, in which, well, you have a squadron of TU4s, and then, because they're well, they're probably the most broken bomber in the game because they actually have, I don't know, sufficient bomb loads to take out the bases, and also defensive armament that works, which is unbalanced for the fact that, just for the sheer fact that no other bomber has that, or rather very few, and they're all, guess what, they're all considered overpowered because they can actually they have an okay, the okay assurance of survival. But the problem is, their win conditions are incredibly difficult, if not nearly impossible in most situations to achieve, and you can't actually achieve them on your own. Where in comparison, fighters can kill, if you're skilled enough, you can kill literally every enemy on the team and secure yourself a massive amount of points. The bombers don't have anything like that, aside from going off and picking at ground targets all game, and then also, unfortunately, we can't do that effectively anymore because they took away our 3D bomb sight. So as a bomber, I'm now effectively locked out of a massive amount of points. Because there's nothing to do aside from bomb the base and then hope you hit something. Attackers, well, cannon-based attackers still kind of have the same idea, or rather, still kind of have the same potential point payout that they have when they enter each game, depending on the map. But heavy bombers were also sort of encroaching on that because you could fly low and drop bombs at things at 1,000 feet, which is unrealistic and kind of comical, but now you've just made heavy bombers kind of worthless in terms of XP gain and also gameplay relevance. And we've unfortunately lost 2 of our engines, so this is a bit of a shame here. But, well, about the only thing we can do now is attempt to land on the carrier. That's it. That's all we have left. That is the only way I'm actually going to continue to play the game. But this is one of the major problems with War Thunder and the clandestine war I've been fighting against the balance department and the gameplay department for all of my time here. I've been trying to play ground attack vehicles and heavy bombers, however, the game just hates them. It absolutely hates them. It wants them to die. They're not supposed to succeed. Because when they succeed, take heavy bombers for example, every time bombers win by base destruction, all of the fighters bitch. Oh, they all bitch and whine. Why is that? Because they didn't get a chance to get all their sick kills and their epic plays of the week. Meanwhile, the bombers actually did their fucking job for once. But no, bombers aren't supposed to succeed. They're not supposed to actually do their job. It's there as a token. It's a win. It's not a win condition. It's a win, what's the term here? Contingency. It's a win contingency. It's to cover an odd sort of gap in the gameplay design. The bombers can technically win on paper, it's just that it's nearly impossible for them to do so, and highly unlikely for you to actually do that. Unless the bombers are broken, in which case everyone whines, and then we have a hotfix patch that gets rid of it inside of a week. Absolutely nothing gets changed faster than bombers winning the game. But then again, the TU-4 has also just been kind of left to do whatever. So, as long as it's Russian, it's okay, apparently. I'm still waiting for a B-36. I'm never gonna get that, though. But oh well. I have a lot to complain about it in this game as a ground attack pilot. And everyone else has a lot to complain about it in this game if you're a ground attack pilot. The game is really stacked against you, and it's all to cater to the assholes and fighters. They just get everything handed to them, aside from their own kills. Well, I accidentally clicked on that. I didn't mean to do that. The carriers are over here. I'm gonna attempt a carrier landing because there's nothing else for me to do. I can attempt to land on the airfield over there, when the landing craft actually get to it. However, I'm gonna be landing in full view of the enemy. At least over here, there's nothing actually here. And if I fuck up the carrier landing, well, that's it, game over. This is a shit situation, and it's really not sustainable as a bomber, and it's never been fixed. It's always been like this, and for some reason Gajin has not seen fit to actually fix the damn problems, or rather, expand bombers as a role. But And also, honestly, every time they expand bombers, it's to cover their asses in an issue. Because once we started getting bombers with bigger payloads that could actually... Java, get out of here. Once we started to actually get bombers, you know, with better payloads, we started to run into situations where the bombers could actually zip to the base and actually kill the base and actually do their fucking job. Unbeknownst to the entire enemy team, which, honestly, the situation there should be, the fighters should prioritize destroying the bomber so that doesn't happen, not making the bomber victory condition an impossible goal post. So that the fighters have time to fight. If the fighters want to fight, they should prioritize the bombers to stop the game from ending instantly. This seems pretty okay, doesn't it? But no, we've gotta have a tremendous wake for the fighter assholes in order to actually, you know, for them to play their game while we sit here and suffer and not actually have genuine roles. But the bases aren't really to give bombers a better role. It's to stop us from base rushing. That's the only thing that it's there for. It doesn't pay that well, and it's to make the bomber win condition nearly impossible to actually get on your own. But it looks like our aircraft carrier's turning, so we're gonna go in there and we're gonna attempt to land on the aircraft carrier. Because we haven't had enough of Fonto's comedy here. And we lost 2 aircraft carriers already. What the hell happened here, guys? But you get what I'm saying here. Honestly, and there are other things that just kind of come into the game to stop bombers from being effective. Or rather, to put shit in their way that really shouldn't be there. Really, it should be perfectly logical for fighter players to actually have to intercept bombers because they're interceptors, rather than just them sicking themselves on each other for basically to play. Well, honestly, every game is a game of Counter-Strike with no bomb, or rather, the bomb is useless. But it should be completely reasonable for the fighters to have to prioritize destroying the enemy bombers and then engaging the enemy fighters, and also to have the fighters, you know, protect their bomber so that they can actually win. But no, nobody wants to do that, for reasons which are completely unknown to me. They just want to play aerial deathmatch like a bunch of morons. And so the result is, because Gajin listens to them, because they're also stupid, we have a bunch of planes that should have roles, but don't have them. Honestly, the B-17 currently in the game, as much as it pains me, really should not even be in the game because it doesn't fit anywhere in the meta. I mean, sure, they probably have a role in combined arms realistic battles, kind of, but really, everywhere else they're essentially worthless. They're like comedy vehicles, and which is why everyone hates them. The amount of people who would complain about having heavy bombers on the American team, or allies in general, is, well, that's like the Sunday papers, really, which is really unfortunate because the Allied war machine, one of our better contributions, is our heavy bombers. That's one of our major advantages over the Axis powers, who spec nearly completely into fighters. Germany's bomber programs were terrible, mainly because they didn't actually get any attention. Also, I'm gonna miss, I shouldn't have made that turn. No, I'm not gonna get it. I should have just rammed myself on it. Well, that's it for me, folks. Nothing I could do with that wasn't exposing myself to complete death. But oh well, we float for a little bit. We'll get a raft. They'll send a boat out for us. And this is also why I hate Norway. Norway is also one of those maps that just... Hey, wait a minute. Hello there. I'm still afloat. I can still shoot you. Let's go. Ah! He killed my pilot. Oh well, he didn't get a kill anyway. He just got an assist. But oh well, I scratched him up a bit. But that's it, really. That's it. that's bombers, which is really unfortunate, and one of the reasons why I want the privateer, but I'm not terribly excited for it because I know there's nothing to do in it. Fighters have a logical endgame. Bombers do not. Ground attackers kind of do, because they could take out all of the ground targets, but then you get maps like Norway, where it's like, oh hey, ships. It's just a never-ending parade of your plane is going to be worthless here. So, honestly, I'm really pissed off at this game, but, well, this is the shit that I have to put up with, and this is, well, begrudgingly, the best free-to-play flight simulator, and I use those words in massive quotations, that there is. There's nothing else like this game. It's just that the quality of the game, the actual visual quality of the game is fantastic. Yeah, whatever. The actual visual quality of the game is fantastic. The actual netcode for this game is fantastic. The gameplay for this game is fucking atrocious. I don't know how this happened, but here it is. This is War Thunder. Realistically speaking, we need to get some more competent developers in their gameplay department to actually fix shit up, because this is kind of hilarious that even tank battles are, like, one of the major problems with tank battles is the map design most of the cases. That's what people complain about. They're just designed by people who have no idea what the hell they're doing. It's very obvious that it was very obvious from the get-go for tanks when they came out that Gajin didn't have any idea what the hell they were doing. But in planes as well, planes, they also don't seem to know how to make a multi-tiered sort of, metagame that isn't, that includes all of the vehicle classes within, having specific win conditions. The only thing that they can come up with is just, and then everyone kills each other, the end. It's really just, it's really just disappointing and actually infuriating on most levels, but whatever. Enough of my rambling. Let's get on with this Grindfest. We lost that match, and then, well, we won Norway. So what did we get for Norway? 3,000, rather 6,000. But then again, that's, well, the research. We only got 3,000 for the plane. Oh well, we get played acceptably, but we don't get paid. We don't have ways to really get hilarious amounts of credits or rather hilarious amounts of RP as I would in a ground attack plane. But, well, that's our lot in life with heavy bombers. Oh, to be rollless. But, well, let's hop back in the A-20 so we can actually do something.